Welcome to part 2 of our special report on the attack on Kuje prison. We already discussed how we believe the attackers were able to enter the prison compound. You have to understand that the prison is fortified at various levels. You have the big compound with giant concrete up to 8 to 10 meters long, with wires on top of it, barbed wires on top of it. It is virtually impossible for anybody ordinarily to scale through that wall. Even if you make it to the top of the wall, you're going to have the problem of going through the razor sharp barbed wires on the wall. But the attackers were able to breach the walls at the base. They breached the front gate, they breached the wall, supposedly in 3 parts, creating a gaping hole to even drive a truck into the prison compound. But when they did it, the inmates did not run out immediately. You can't run out because you still have to get out of your cell, which is tightly locked, heavily locked. You need to get out of your cell. Even if you manage to get out of your cell, you still need to get out of the gate of each block at 2 levels. Even if you get out of the first gate, you still need another gate before you can leave the building, the block. So, we are wondering how the attackers could have done this. For me, who had been in Kuje prison and all parts of Kuje prison, I'm trying to visualize the method of attack, the pattern of attack, the escape route. And to tell you the truth, you can't get into Kuje prison in the manner described unless you have been inside Kuje, you understood the system, and you have heavy bombs. On a grenade, a hand grenade will not breach the prison wall. No, you needed something heavier, more powerful than that. So, now, the attackers are in the compound. They have 4 prison blocks to get into. And each prison block will have up to 50 cells to break into. Each cell is fortified. So, now, because we believe that the attackers were Boko Haram, they must have targeted the bomb blast. That is cell block 2, where all the inmates on terrorism charges, Boko Haram, ISIS, and kidnappers are kept. Now we are thinking, in fact, they were kept in that custody because they were viewed as very special, dangerous inmates. They were kept in one custody in order to provide enhanced special surveillance, monitoring, and security for that cell. But now, it is looking as if that wasn't a wise decision, because by concentrating all the Boko Haram people in one block, you made it easy for the attackers to know where to go to free all of them in a single move. But according to the report we're getting, the attack started 9:30 p.m. and continued till 3:30 a.m. So it meant, in fact, that the attackers had 6 whole hours uninterrupted, unstopped, to be able to achieve their purpose. So after they entered the main compound, they would start breaching each cell block. So let us say they come to bomb blast, because bomb blast was marked as special detention place for special inmates, specially dangerous inmates. Bomb blast was fortified extra. So before you enter that bomb blast custody or the the cell 2 or block 2, you have to cross several solid iron barricades all locked up. So these guys, having been able to breach the main wall, whatever weapons or whatever instruments they use to breach these walls, the main walls, certainly those instruments will be will be capable of breaching the blocks within the prison. So they must have come to bomb blast and detonated their things and either breached the wall of bomb blast, or they would have taken out the gates one by one with explosives, and then they got into bomb blast. When you get into bomb blast, you have up to 100 cells. Each cell has solid barricade. Each cell contains 2 inmates in bomb blast. 2 inmates in bomb blast. So, to be able to free 2 inmates in bomb blast, you must explode through the lock into that cell. Now, there are things they could have done. They might have used gunshot to bust the padlock leading into a cell. Maybe that's what they did. Common sense will say that if you use gun on a sharp metallic object in front of you, such as padlock and iron rods, you might have a situation where the bullet ricochets and hits someone else unintended, or even bounces back and hits the shooter. So how did they do this? What equipment did they do? I do not think that these people would have gone shooting every key, every padlock, 100 of them. If they did so, perhaps that would be tedious. That would be a lot of gun firing. Perhaps they were able to enter and obtain the key, the master key. So they will go cell to cell unlocking these cells, because each cell has a number, and that number corresponds with the padlock for that cell, and that padlock corresponds with a key in the big bunch of keys the warders will carry around. So they might have laid their hands on that bunch and went and opening cell to cell until they were able to free all inmates in bomb blast. And we're talking of only one block, bomb blast. Remember, they would have gone to custody 1, Egypt, to try the same thing. But there is something special about custody 1, the Egypt, the poor people's block. In Egypt, there are no individual cells. Egypt is like a hall where about 250 people are crammed into a tiny space like cockroaches, and they're all jammed in there. So in the case of Egypt, once you bust the main gate into that block, everybody can step out. So again, they could have done that in Egypt through the gate, but guess what? They could have just breached the wall. If they breached the wall to Egypt's block, it will be a gaping hole, and all the inmates in Egypt will step out. So they went, however they did it, or whatever method they used, either they had keys or not. They went to custody 3, freed up people. They went to custody 4, freed up people. And a lot of people escaped, as we said. But it didn't end there. To show you that these people were meticulous and they knew what they were doing, they went and burnt the record. They burnt the record office in the prison. That is, where they keep a record of inmates, record of court orders, record of who came, who served, how many days are left for you to serve. They went in there and destroyed the record. That has incredible implication, because even if you manage to bring all the inmates back without the record office, it will be impossible to determine when a person is due to complete his sentence, when a person is due to go to court next time. Indeed, it is a disaster of extreme proportions in terms of law and order in Nigeria. The people must begin to ask deep questions. How did this happen? Nigerian government, how did this happen? We will discuss that in the next session. In the part 3 of this topic, we will address the implications of what happened in Kuje prison this morning.